Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Buckeye Weekly Podcast. I am Tony Gerdeman, here as always with Tom Orr. Tom, how's it going?
Tony, if the listeners picked up just a hint of dejection in your voice there as you asked that question, they probably already know the answer to the question that I'm sure they've been wondering all week long. Who won? Bold predictions for week one for the Ohio State-Akron game. Tony, it wasn't you.
No, and really, there's no telling who it was. It's a mystery. It's a mystery. No, Tom, you did win with your very first bold prediction, which was that the Ohio State defense would outscore Akron by 5 points, which they did. I don't recall the exact score. I think it was 14-6 defense versus Akron. Congratulations. I did not get any, but that was, in fairness to me, that was the only one you got. You were way off on all of the others as well. So I don't know that we should really give you full credit for any kind of victory here. And frankly, Tom, last week was last week. We're not here to talk about the past. We're here to talk about the future.
I trust that in true bold predictions fashion, you have been sleeping on an uncomfortable bed all week as a punishment for losing. I know we don't have a road trip this weekend, so there is no cot of shame, but I assume you've been sleeping on, I don't know, the couch of shame or the pet bed of shame or the carpet of shame or something like that in your house. Even if you haven't, please just tell me that you have. Appreciate it.
Been sleeping on the floor, and I have like a closet bar like in the middle of my back just to make it even more uncomfortable to simulate a pull-out sofa. So yes, believe me, the guilt I feel and the shame I feel is much worse than any kind of cot of shame that would be employed at any part of the last week. So let's get started, Tom. Your Honor.
All right. So this is another week where Buckeyes should win by a decent amount. It feels like it's going to be more of a challenge than last week. So I tried to keep things more or less in line with the stuff we talked about last week. So how about this one? Ohio State had 6 rushes of 10-plus yards last week. Western Michigan against Wisconsin allowed 3 rushes of 10-plus yards last week. Ohio State has at least 8 rushes of 10-plus yards this week.
No, I think the better one would be to combine the two and just say 9, even though the numbers really have nothing to do with each other. 6 is a very slow baseline, a small baseline. We know they started slowly. 9, I would begrudgingly allow. 8 is just happenstance. So if you want to be bold, go 9. If you want to just be happenstance, you can stick at 8 and we can complain until you go 9.
Welcome to happenstance predictions. That's fine, Tony. I will allow you to bump me up to 9 there. That's fine. We'll just remember that we're being bold this week and we're not being happenstance. However, whatever that might look like.
I'll know it when I see it. My first bold prediction is somewhat in line with it. I'm saying at least 8 rushes of 10 yards or more for the Buckeyes TreVeyon Henderson and Quinshon Judkins each have a rush of at least 34 yards.
Oh, interesting. See, I had one where 3 Buckeyes have a rush of at least 17 yards. So it seems like we're on a similar track here. Yours, yeah, absolutely. I think that's perfectly viable. Those are a little bit of one-off events. You can run the ball very well, and Ohio State ran the ball reasonably well last year and did not have a run longer than 21 yards. So, yeah, I think that's a good one. Your thoughts on 3 Buckeyes having a rush of at least 17 yards?
Well, it's interesting because my next one pointer is that James Peoples has a rush of between 17 and 33 yards, which, again, these are all different, but in the same vein. So,
yes.
You're saying any 3 Buckeyes of 17 yards?
Yes.
Can I remove 1 Buckeye?
No, but thank you for asking.
Okay, 3 Buckeyes.
How about if I give you 4 names and it has to be 3 of them?
Sure, that's fine.
Okay, so I will take the 3 running backs, TreVeyon Henderson, Quinshon Judkins, James Peoples, and then also Will Howard.
Yeah,
I feel like that I was hoping that you would allow me 3 Buckeyes just and, period, full stop, because I think there's a possibility you get a Carnell Tate or a Brendan Innes on an end around kind of thing, and you might be able to sort of sneak one with one guy with one rush for 19 yards or something like that. But yeah, okay, we'll go with that.
It's funny that you say that because I have another one similar to that. But so are we going to go? I will allow this 3 Buckeyes with at least a 17-yard rush, the 3 running backs, and Will Howard of those 4. And really, those are the 3. Those are the 4 where it should come from. And I was only going to remove a receiver, just so you know, just so we're being fair. I was only going to remove a particular receiver. But my next one pointer, will you allow the James Peoples rush between 17 and 33 yards?
Yes, I think that's a good one because I think, frankly, if I get this one, if I get the 3 Buckeyes with a rush of at least 17 yards, you will likely get that. Very likely involves a James Peoples rush of at least 17 yards. So, I mean, the funniest possible thing would be for him to run for 36 yards. But well, let's do a quick peek behind the curtain because we were blasting through this way too fast. So we have time for a quick aside here. There was a Travion Henderson run last week that the in-stadium announcer announced as 31 yards. It turned out it was 21 yards. But he announced it, and I texted you how hard I laughed because you had one last week where guys had to run for their jersey number, so he needed at least a 32-yard run, and they had announced it as a 31-yard run, and how much I enjoyed that, but then it turned out to not be true, but it didn't matter because you got everything wrong. So it didn't matter. It was still funny in just a different kind of way.
It's all very, very funny and all also sad, which I think is also what makes it funny. So it's your turn then.
All right, let's see. How about
now we can start arguing.
Okay, here's one on Will Howard. Will Howard completes 9 consecutive passes at some point during the game.
What did he do in the what was he, like 11 of 12 in the second half?
Yeah, he had 8 consecutive passes at one point spanning the very end of the second quarter and early in the fourth quarter. So that's why I went with 9, just a little famously higher than 8. Figured, and a little bit of a tougher defense this week as well, but figured he looked like he was maybe settling in, and we'll see how settled in he gets. I'm not calling for a Tate Martell type performance, Tony, here. Let's not be outrageous, but almost as good as Tate Martell is still pretty bold.
I'm thinking more along the lines of 17 completions in a row. When was the last time? I don't know if we've ever had one like this.
I don't think so. And it didn't really occur to me until I was sort of looking through his stats from the game, and because he had a rough first half, and then the second half really sort of settled in. So yeah, I don't have a ton of historical context here other than JT Barrett had 16 or 17 in a row against Penn State in 2017, and Tate Martell famously was 10 for 10 11. Or was it 11 for 11 against Rutgers in 2018? So other than that, I really don't have a lot of historical context here, but it feels like there's a bunch of different stuff that can go wrong, and you're only going to get a couple different shots at this if you have a drop here or a throwaway there. That counter resets to 0, and they're probably not throwing 50 passes, so you're only going to have a couple chances to do this.
Why don't you vamp a little bit while I go back through all of the play-by-plays last year of Kyle McCord and see where we can. Let me first check the Cotton Bowl and see how things were in that game.
Will Howard completes 2 consecutive passes. Oh, that's bold. Oh my, wow! In one game,
yeah, I like that one.
Okay,
yeah. In the same game, yes. That's a good one. My third one-pointer involves something that we were just talking about. I have a receiver rushing for a touchdown, and I think we're going to start maybe seeing that be employed a little bit at some point. I don't know that you need to do it yet. That's why I'm kind of going with a bold prediction here. And again, a rushing touchdown, not little touch pass, fly sweep that turns into a completion, which now it's going to happen.
Yeah, the question is, will they have a 3rd and goal from the 1? And will Emeka Egbuka be able to take it into the boundary? We will see. This is one where I have to allow this. This feels like one that I'm a little bit annoyed that I didn't pick, because it sort of feels like we're due for one of those, which you could kind of tell from how I was thinking about the 17 yards and thinking about a receiver there. But yeah, I pretty much have to allow this one. But it does feel like that's a piece of the Ohio State offense that we really didn't, I think, see last week. But it feels like something they're going to start working in, because it's, this is not a gadget play. This is not a trick play. It's just something that is almost a standard piece of their offense that they're then going to be able to iterate off of in the coming weeks. So you're going to see this at some point. And, someone like Carnell Tate or Brandon Innes or Emeka Ibuka, I mean, these guys are Jeremiah Smith. You could absolutely do it with Jeremiah Smith too. These guys are dynamic enough with the ball in their hands that you got a decent chance of scoring if you're running this at a certain part of the field.
I think Western Michigan also poses enough of a problem in theory that you're not just going to go strictly base with them and just keep it between the hashes or whatever. You're gonna run your offense and then you're gonna start adding to it. So that's why I think it's a shoot. I don't even think I deserve 1 point for this, but you already said I did, so let's do it.
After all these weeks of people complaining that I'm too mean to you, we're gonna have people complaining that I'm too nice to you now. So this is things, Tony. It turns out you can never make people happy. You want to talk about your blue shirt for a minute, or do you want to move on to the next one? Next one.
It's light green. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Next one. Of Ohio State's top 6 defensive backs, we will define as Denzel Burke, Davis Negmanosin, Jordan Hancock, Lathan Ransom, Caleb Downs, and Jermaine Matthews. Those 6 guys combined for at least 5 tackles for loss on Saturday. They combined for 3.5 last week.
Yeah, I like this one. I also like watching how aggressively they are playing near the line of scrimmage and attacking. We saw Caleb Downs blitzing. We saw Lathan Ransom blitzing. We also saw Jermaine Matthews clean up a CJ Hicks blitz that led to a quick pass, and he was right there. So I like this one. Top 6 DBs, at least 5 tackles for loss.
Total, not each. Just to be clear, total, not each.
Oh, boy. I'm going to need the 17 tackles for loss. Yes. A 3-point bold prediction would be anybody with 5 tackles for loss. I think we can go ahead and just go ahead and set that out there right now, because the last time it happened was maybe a Chase Young or somebody in a having a huge bowl game. I don't think Jack Sawyer did that last year. He may have. I don't know. But that's neither here nor there unless I decide to use it. So top 6 DBs with at least 5 tackles for loss. Can I take one of those away?
No, but thank you for asking. You already gave me the light green light, or the blue light as you call it. So I think I think we're pretty much in, Tony. Sorry to tell you.
The Ohio State defense gave up 4 of 16 on third down conversions last week. I'm saying the defense for the Buckeyes this week will allow 0 third down conversions in at least 2 quarters of the game. I don't know. Well, I don't know what the breakdown was last week.
Tony, I have great news. I still have stat broadcast up from last week's game.
There you go.
So
perfect.
I can tell you. Let's see.
And if it's 1 per quarter, that's fantastic. I don't think it was. So if it's 2 in each quarter and then it's like none in the last 2, then we might have an issue here.
Okay, let's see. Quarter number 1, Ohio State allowed 1 of 3 third downs. Okay. Quarter number 2, they allowed 1 of 4 third downs.
All right, I'm good.
Quarter number 3, they allowed 2 of 6 third downs. And quarter number 4, they allowed 0 of 3. So, yes, you are probably good.
Western Michigan has a better offense.
Well, I guess we'll find out. I mean, they only scored 14 points against Wisconsin, so yeah.
In fairness, they only had 7 possessions because they muffed a punt.
7 possessions. Woof. Yes. I meant to look at how close I got to having a quarter with 0 or negative yardage for Akron. I think they never broke 100 yards in a quarter. No. It was 41, 42, 65, and 29. There were a couple times I got close in the second quarter. Like they had nothing for a long time. I think it was negative pretty far into the second quarter, and then they popped it right before halftime.
And that caveat I threw in there of at least like you had to remove like a 15-yard bad snap or whatever, and the bad snap was only
they
like
had 11. A 13-yard bad snap. Yes. Oh, I was sitting next to my buddy Michael, who was a listener of this show, and he was talking to me about that. He did say I went too easy on you, which I mean I think everyone would agree with. Every reasonable person would agree with, but Yeah, he was laughing at the fact that it was a 15-yard. We had the 15-yard caveat, and it was a 13-yard. Tony, you love to see it.
I don't know that you do.
Next up, let's see. I have a couple different ones. I think this one is kind of fun. Tony, 3 different Ohio State running backs outrush Michigan running back Donovan Edwards by at least 2 yards per carry on Saturday, minimum 5 carries for each. Donovan Edwards, of course, playing Texas. And if Donovan Edwards has even 4 yards a carry, I'm probably hosed here. So I'm banking on 3 Ohio State running backs having 5 carries each and also running for a decent number because he is at the minimum going to have 2.5 yards a carry. So you're already at 4.5 for Ohio State. And, he could, if he has even 4 yards a carry, I'm completely hosed here. But 3 different Ohio State running backs, not Will Howard, running backs, outrush Donovan Edwards for at least 2 yards per carry with a minimum of 5 carries for each.
Well, here's the thing. Because Donovan Edwards is probably going to rush for about 2 yards a carry against Texas. Rushed for 2.7, 2.9 last week against Fresno State. I like the idea of it. I just hate the production that Donovan Edwards has not had in games not even games like this, games like last week as well.
Tony, I'm going to just stop you right there and remind you, he is on the cover of the college football video game, so he must be an extraordinary player. I don't have the game, I don't have a video game system, but my understanding, Tony, is that his ratings are very good, so he must be an extraordinary player. So I'm unclear what your objection here is.
I am almost, while I disregard everything you just said there, I am almost tempted to go with this just so all of the Buckeye fans who are rooting for me, which is like 96% of them, have to also root for Donovan Edwards. That's not cool on my part to be like, hey, I'll allow this, but now you're going to have Buckeye fans who clearly want to see the good guy win this one. Now also have to root for somebody they consider the bad guy in Donovan Edwards. That being said, I like the idea of it. I like you said it was fun. I'm not here to spoil anybody's fun. I do totally expect this to hit I think they will best him by 3 yards per carry. So this is not bold. This is more welcome to our 14 fun predictions. And Tom is the ceremonial master of the fun, so he's going to get a freebie here. I will allow this for a fun prediction, not bold. Fun. I'm not trying to gatekeep. If you want to come here to have fun, that's not why I'm here. But if you want to come here to have fun, go ahead and do it. I'm not going to say you can't or they can't. People want to do that. That's fine. That's not what I am here for, but I will allow this. 3 OSU running backs outrush Donovan Edwards by at least 2 yards per carry with at least 5 carries. And I'm saying they'll do it by about 3.5. But fun, not bold.
I like the idea that this just keeps increasing every time you talk. They're going to go by 3. Oh, no, they're going to go by 3.5. Like, if you want to take 3.5, I will give you, would you like to take this with 3.5? If you'd like to take this with 3.5, I can take another one.
Well, no, I mean, I could just take it with 2 yards per carry because that's the rule that we have put in place. But I'm instead going to allow you to have this, and then I'm going to go with something bold for my next one. If that's okay, if you're not too offended.
Listen, I love it when you try new things. That's great. By all means, go ahead.
Now, and what makes this...
And first, let me just be real clear here. I think there's a decent possibility they do. I think minimum 5 carries for each is a sneaky, challenging piece of this where they might... How likely is it in your head that James Peoples gets 5 carries?
Well, that's the only question.
80%. I think that's a piece of it. And if Donovan Edwards breaks one long run, that probably kills it. Like this could be dead at 1:00 in the afternoon on Sunday. That's a possibility. So there are more ways for this to not go right than you think.
No, I would agree with that. It's just the history of Donovan Edwards that we've seen would suggest that he should get there. That's why, to me, the biggest mystery is the 5 carries. But if we parlay all of these little mysteries together, we've got one big jumbled up puzzle. We'll allow it, Tom. Again, we all love puzzles. They're fun. My last one-pointer, and the long-standing tradition of the show, is if you want to be wrong about a bold prediction, predict sacks.
I have one for my 2-pointer, so I'm looking forward to hearing what yours is.
Mine is Jack Sawyer with at least 2 sacks. We saw him get to the quarterback a bunch, not fast enough. I'm sorry, wasn't good enough. Now you got to ramp it up a little bit more. So what do you say there, Tom?
Well, I think that's a good one, and I think that is absolutely worth. It is bold, and I think it's absolutely worth one. My 2-pointer was 3.5 sacks combined for Jack Sawyer and JT Tuimoloau. So you need both of them to have either one of them has a 3-sack day, which is a remarkable day, or both of them have a very good day, 2 sacks for one, 1.5 for the other. And if you can split it however you want. Is it 2.5 and 1 or 3.5 or whatever?
Let me split it this way for you, Tom. So your 2-pointer is my 1-pointer combined with what JT Tuimoloau did last week.
Yes. Thank you for asking.
And
but he has to do it again. He doesn't get to start with it.
No, Tom, we don't go on, he did it last week, but now he has to do it again. You've never allowed anything like that. That has never been part of the show's canon. It's if they did it last week, then it's completely out of the picture. So you are saying these 2 things, one which is a 1-point bold prediction and one which would be a no-point bold prediction because he just did it last week. You want to combine those 2 and make them a 2-pointer. Are you understanding the issue? Are you seeing what I'm talking about? Are you understanding the math that I am discussing with you right now?
Well, I don't know why you didn't let me finish. It was pretty rude, honestly, for you to cut me off.
Apologies.
I think you would have probably changed your mind if you heard me say 4.5 sacks combined for Jack Sawyer, JT Tuimoloau, and Kenyatta Jackson. 4.5 sacks, Tony. That's a lot of sacks. I can't help but point out that is a lot of sacks.
I will allow this just because throwing out predictions on sacks is just a big waste of time and a big waste of money. I would prefer the 4.5 being with just the 2 guys, but if you want to throw Kenyatta Jackson in there and get to 4.5, I will allow this 4.5 sacks from JT, Jack, and Kenyatta Jackson Jr. Okay. All right. Within the first 3 quarters.
The thing I'm most excited about is when Kenyatta Jackson has 3 sacks and the other 2 guys combined for like 1.5. And Tony, you'll only, as always, you'll only have yourself to blame.
As always, boy, truer words. My 2-pointer, Tom, we have discussed yesterday or on today's morning show about what is a bold prediction for Jeremiah Smith. And in terms of touchdown catches, you can't even set it at a half. You're definitely taking the over. So then it becomes like, well, 1.5. And it's like, well, probably going to go over. So, Tom, my bold prediction, my 2-point bold prediction, no touchdown catches for Jeremiah Smith.
That feels like a great 1-pointer.
I know. It's so crazy.
I
was just trying to throw by you.
Yeah. I feel like 0 is what's the absolute baseline expectation for him? Like in order of likelihood, 1, 2, 0, 3 in order of likelihood. I don't know, if he just plays a half and they 0 doesn't feel like guy doesn't score a touchdown, doesn't feel like that should ever be a 2-pointer.
It may be by like November. We'll see. No, my real 2-pointer is something that has only been done twice in the history of college football. And that is 2 touchdown catches for Emeka Egbuka.
Wow, and that's true going all the way back to 1869, the Rutgers-Princeton game? Really?
I mean, I went through the Wayback Machine and I was downloading
newspapers. And you only want
newspapers.
2 points for this? Wow, that's...
Just 2.
I take back like 47% of the mean things I've said about you over the years.
You.
That's incredible.
Thank you.
Wow, since 1869, it's only happened twice.
Yeah.
Twice. Yeah, that's...
Keep in mind, I've also almost predicted him to rush for a score as well.
But these have to be receptions, 2 touchdown receptions. Because I do think After last week, he kind of got jobbed out of a touchdown. I think they will probably be looking to get that, set that right this week. I'm going to allow this because I do think there's a decent possibility he's going to score one on a run. I think scoring on a run and also having 2 touchdown receptions, they're probably not both going to hit, but I think there's a pretty good chance that one of them hits. Because I think him scoring 2 touchdowns is maybe not a coin flip, but feels close enough that I think you're going to hit one of these, but probably not both. But yeah, I will allow this only because you can cite a fact that goes all the way back to just 4 years after the Civil War, Tony. That's a remarkable piece of college football history there.
I mean, we're talking ironclad boats all the way back then. I mean, this is legit history, Tom. And so I appreciate you. You do fun bold predictions. I do historic bold predictions. And now it is time for Who Only Knows what your 3-point bold prediction is. How fun is this one gonna be?
Well, Tony, I'm going to give you both 2 different pieces of historical information. Number 1, this is something that's not happened in 10 years. 10 years. And that is Ohio State's going to return a punt for a touchdown. However, there's also something that hasn't happened in the entire history of college football, which is Brandon Inniss returns a punt for a touchdown. So not only am I saying that the Buckeyes are going to do something that they haven't done in 10 years, I'm also going to put a specific name on it, something, Tony, that's never happened in the history of college football. It would be, this is basically the equivalent of predicting a team to get like 6 safeties. Like it never happened. So, I mean, you have to, Brandon Inniss returns a punt for a touchdown. He gets 6 points. I get 3.
Okay. Well, I've got one similar. You tell me which one is more bold, and then we can go with that one. Okay.
Mine.
Hear me out. You might disagree. My 3-pointer was a special team score.
Well, that seems significantly less bold. I mean,
but it's fun.
They're probably kicking a PAT at some point, Tony. So field goals. I mean, this feels like you're really trying to slip one past the goalie.
No, I'm definitely going to allow this one. Now I have to. Like I said, my 3-pointer was a special teams score, and not extra point or field goal, but something legitimate like a punt block or some sort of a return. Yeah, we will allow that. I mean, it's a matter of time. I feel like if we just, one of us, like I get this one next week, okay? Or not next week, 2 weeks. I get this one.
No, you take your finger off the checker. You can have it next week. I'll take it for the Marshall game. That's fine.
I get it Monday, Wednesdays, and Saturdays. You get it Tuesday, Thursdays, Sundays. All right. What's a good 3-point score? And if we can just, Jeremiah Smith was very close to having 4 touchdowns last week. Is 4 touchdowns even a 3-point now? Like, I think it should be because it's only been done by Noah Brown and.
I think it is. I think 4 touchdowns until you see it at least once or twice this year. I think it has to be a 4 touchdown reception, not 4 touchdowns total, but 4 touchdown receptions, because that's only happened 3 or 4 times in Ohio State history, something like that.
I mean. Yeah, Noah Brown did it, and I think, did San Antonio do it one year? But yeah, it's like, again, 1869 we're talking about, that, like way back. So I don't feel good about it, but it's also quite possible. So it's like, if this is going to be my fallback plan, then.
You could absolutely see this happening. Like, absolutely you could see this happening. It's not super likely to happen, but it's a 3-pointer. It shouldn't be super likely to happen. But you can absolutely, the Buckeyes with 4 touchdowns, Noah Brown against Oklahoma in 2016, Dane Sanzenbacher against Eastern Michigan in 2010, Terry Glenn at Pitt in 1995, and Bob Grimes, old Grimey, against Washington State in 1952. So only 4 times.
All right, then we'll go with that. Tom, did you have a free point that you would like to give me? That way I won't end up with 0 points again this week.
Yes, I will generously give you one. Let's see. How about this? Ohio State converted 9 out of 14 on 3rd downs last week.
Mm-hmm.
They convert at least 2 3rd downs this week.
Now, this is assuming they're going to be in third down situations. So I feel like you're already putting me against the 8 ball on this one, but I will allow it.
Would you like me to change it to 1? I can change it to 1 if that would make you feel better. I know how much you rely on these for all of your production in these contests.
No, 2 third downs converted for the Ohio State offense. Look, if they don't get it, that's not your fault. That's not my fault. That is their fault, and they should be held responsible. Not me, not you. Tom, my last one, this free point to you. Ohio State quarterback Will Howard famously transferred from Kansas State. At least 9 yards of total offense in this game against a Western Michigan defense that made Tyler Van Dyke look like Tyler Van Dyke. I'm saying at least 9 yards of total offense for Will Howard.
Okay. I will allow that with the caveat that he must take at least 1 snap in the game.
We're going to be here another 45 minutes if I just don't agree to this. At least 1 snap. It can be as a holder on a placement.
Yes, but that's Joe McGuire's job, so probably not.
All these Australians coming in, taking our jobs. At least 1 snap on offense. Okay, fine. Big baby. All right, there you go. Fantastic. Bold predictions. I feel pretty good about mine. I don't feel good about Tom's at all, but that's the way it normally goes, and we all know what that means. I've gone too bold. Tom has gone too fun. But anyway, thank you all for tuning in. If you have not yet hit the thumbs up on this one, we would appreciate that. We would also, go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you have not yet. Hit the bell to be notified. We got a Western Michigan game preview talking about the upcoming Saturday night game as well, dropping tomorrow. So look for that one as well. And of course, always find us at buckeyehuddle.com. So thank you all for tuning in, and we'll talk to you guys later.